Hey, what's going on, guys? So today's video is going to be about the sequel trilogy, as you can tell, and I know that this is a sore subject when it comes to most of the fandom, especially the die-hard fans. I know most of the time when people bring up the sequel trilogy, it usually turns into a negative conversation, but I do want to bring to light what the sequel trilogy actually did well, because I actually did quite enjoy the sequel trilogy as a whole. The Rise of Skywalker I didn't enjoy too much compared to the other two, but I do think that even the Rise of Skywalker had some positives in it, and I want to discuss the positives today because of all the negativity that goes around about these movies. So obviously the sequels are extremely divisive throughout the Star Wars fandom, and it seems that this divide will never be repaired, or at least for a very long time. But let's get right into what the sequels did right. There's going to be one main thing and then a couple of other little things that I wanted to throw in there as well. So the main thing that I think the sequels did well is the expansion of the Force and different Force powers. They focus a lot on showing new Force powers that we have never seen before on the big screen, and they explain once again what the Force is for the new audience. And of course they explored new Force connections like the Force dyad between Rey and Kylo. Some of the Force powers that they showed us weren't necessarily new, but they were new to us on the big screen. We had seen them in animated shows and comics and things like that, but the first one that I'm going to talk about is Force Stasis. They show us Force Stasis in the opening scene of The Force Awakens when Kylo Ren freezes the blaster bolt in place, which is my favorite introduction to a character ever in the whole entirety of Star Wars. They also show us another Force power, which is in Jedi Fallen Order. It's called Force Psychometry, and this occurs when Rey touches the dagger in The Rise of Skywalker and sees what the blade has gone through. Force Psychometry is a Force power that allows people to touch objects or people and see their past and what they have gone through. We also believe that Kylo Ren had this power in The Force Awakens when he would touch Darth Vader's mask and the mask would speak to him, or he would be seeing the past of the mask. And I think that was actually the original plan for that, but then we find out that Palpatine was actually the one talking to him, so all of that goes out the window. And of course, going back to the new Force connection or Force power in the Force dyad. I won't go too into depth on the Force dyad just because there's so much to talk about regarding the Force dyad, but if you do want to know more, I did do a video previously explaining Rey and Kylo's connection, so if you want to see that, go check that out. So one of the main complaints that people had about the sequel trilogy, in particular The Rise of Skywalker, is they were saying that they made a lot of stuff up, which I don't really understand because all movies are made up, and I understand that there are rules in Star Wars, but in order to tell an interesting story with new obstacles and just telling new stories in general, you have to make new stuff up and create new lore. I enjoyed the fact that they gave us new Force abilities, even though they did seem a little convenient at times. It was still cool to see, and I'm grateful for the new lore that they gave us. They also gave us the character of Kylo Ren, an extremely well-developed villain and my second favorite character ever in Star Wars, second only to Anakin Skywalker from the prequels. It's hard to have any complaints about the character of Kylo Ren because he was so well written, so well acted, and so well casted. The only complaint that you could have is that they didn't really have a plan for the character. They set him up for one thing in The Last Jedi, and I wish they would have just stayed on that route instead of going back on what they set up in The Last Jedi, but that's really the only thing that you can complain about. The character is awesome, and he's played by an awesome actor as well. The sequel trilogy also gave us amazing visuals and cinematography. It's amazing that we get to see Star Wars with modern technology and modern cinematography on the big screen again, and we should all be much more grateful than we actually are for the movies that we got that we never thought that we would get. And that brings me to my last topic, which is the sequels brought us Star Wars again. We get to see all of our favorite characters in a new Star Wars movie pass the torch on to the new stars of the movies, and that is something that all Star Wars fans always deserved. And we would have never gotten that one last time seeing all of our favorite characters unless Disney bought Lucasfilm. So we should all be grateful for what Disney has given us. Even if they aren't your favorite movies, they are still Star Wars movies, and if you are a Star Wars fan, you should be grateful for what we got because it wasn't always promised to us. Even if you hated all three movies, you have to admit that that feeling of going to see The Force Awakens for the first time was a feeling that you'll never feel again in your entire life. So while you may hate the sequel trilogy or you may love the sequel trilogy, you have to admit that they did a lot of good things for Star Wars, and they gave us a lot of things that we never would have gotten if the sequels didn't happen. So be grateful. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did like the video, make sure you leave a like on the video, and if you want to see more, make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's new videos every single day. I hope you guys have been liking the videos, and if you are liking the videos, I hope to see you on the next one.